Children younger than 5 may be able to get a COVID vaccine by the end of this month. Pfizer asked the Food and Drug Administration today to authorize 2 low-dose shots for children between 6 months and 5 years old. At the same time, Pfizer and its partner, BioNTech, are investigating whether 3 doses would work better. This has been long awaited by many. And for more, we turn to Dr. Yvonne Maldonado. She's a professor of pediatric infectious disease at Stanford University. She's helped conduct trials for the under 5 vaccine. Dr. Maldonado, welcome back to the NewsHour. So what do you think of this move by Pfizer?
Well, I think it's going to be a cautious move forward. We know that the two-dose vaccine trials did not give the results that were expected in the 2 to 4 year olds in particular, and the third dose will be a hopeful next step. But in the meantime, it does appear that there may be some data to support a limited use of the two-dose vaccine, that it may actually have some effectiveness. It's clearly very safe, so that's not the concern.
And it's been reported that Pfizer was encouraged by the Food and Drug Administration to go ahead and request authorization. And I just want to clarify something you just said, and that is the trials were showing that the 2-dose, much lower dose regimen was working well, providing protection for children 6 months through up to 2 years. But as you just said, 2 to 4, it wasn't. Can you explain what that's all about? Is it the amount of vaccine or what?
Well, first of all, let me just say that we haven't seen any of the data, even though we're doing the trials. We're all blinded to the data, which is important. The FDA will be posting the data, we hope, and we'll be able to get a better look. But the bottom line is that the dose that's being given to the under fives by necessity needs to be lower because the higher doses given to the 5 to 11-year-olds, which themselves were less than the adult dose. So it's 30, 10, and 3 micrograms. So a stepwise lowering of the dose. They just provide better a tolerance of the vaccine. So the 3 microgram dose, the lowest dose, provides a very acceptable safety profile, less fevers, for example. But it also didn't provide the same high degree of antibody responses that we're seeing in the older children and adults. But we just don't know the data. We haven't seen it yet. So it will be helpful to see to what degree there were positive antibody responses in that age group. And perhaps there may even be some data around prevention of disease and prevention of symptomatic cases.
And what I was quoting a moment ago has been from news reports, but I hear what you are saying, that that all the data has not been released. But on balance, does it sound like a wise thing to do right now to go ahead and seek this authorization, get the authorization, even as you wait to see how effective a third dose would be?
You know, that's a good question. I really think, first of all, I don't think that the industry sponsor or the FDA would move ahead if they didn't think they had a compelling argument. They're very good. Both the company and the FDA are very good at this vaccine approval process. They've been doing it well for even before the pandemic, and they've done an excellent job during the pandemic. So I think that they must have data that is going to support their argument. But not having seen the data, I can't really make a final judgment. We'll just have to take a look and make sure that their messaging is not only to those of us in the fields of vaccinology, but to the general public as well.
Well, I think to parents listening, what you're saying, it could certainly be reassuring. We know, Dr. Maldonado, that among parents of children from age 6 through 11, there's already been a degree of reluctance to have their children vaccinated. I think the uptake is under a third, something like 29%. How concerned are you that there's going to be ongoing reluctance among parents of these youngest children?
Well, you know, that's a great point. It is really frustrating to see people who are very anxious to get their kids vaccinated, but then this whole group of people who haven't done it. And I am not really sure that it's a safety issue or a fear issue. I really think that the messaging about the significance of COVID in children has been really underplayed. This is a disease that is the eighth most common cause of death in children in the US. But when you compare it to the data in adults, clearly children are not dying, fortunately, at the same rate. That doesn't mean it's not an important disease that needs to be prevented in kids. And that's the message that I don't think is getting out to the general public.
You're saying there's a lot at stake here, that there's a reason to get the vaccine for these youngest children.
Absolutely. We know that tens of thousands of children have been hospitalized. More recently, with Omicron, we have been overrun with hospitalizations. We know that there have been over 1,000 children who have died. And again, not to make light of that number, we know that adults have died in many higher numbers, but that is not a reason to allow children to die unnecessarily. And we know that this vaccine is safe. It has been shown over and over again. So the messaging is really about families thinking that this is a risk benefit that is in their favor, in their children's favor.
I think you're right that many people, that story is not one that has been widely dispersed. Dr. Yvonne Maldonado at Stanford University, thank you very much.
Thank you.